T-E-A, a simple cup of tea. Or is it? Simple, I mean. When I look down at this refreshing mild stimulant, I can't help but see much more than its base taste. Because at first glance it may seem like any average beverage, but there is a story to it. The tea plant itself is native to East and South Asia, and probably originated around the meeting points of northeast India, North Burma and southwest China. There are two varieties of tea plant. The small leaf variety, known as Camellia sinensis, that thrives in the cool, high mountainous regions, and the broadleaf variety known as the Camellia assemica, which grows in the most tropical climates, both having beneficial properties such as theanine, caffeine, vitamin B and C. The only other way to get this particular blend outside of a pharmacy would involve ingesting a particularly nasty fungi. Now, putting aside fungus, well, not all fungus. Penicillin is beneficial, but isn't topical at the moment. Back to the tea. How did we find this tea plant? There are many myths ranging from the Buddha chewing tea leaves because of extreme boredom or meditation, to a Chinese emperor that preferred to boil his water to purify imperfections, and yet didn't care that a leaf fell in. A little bit strange considering that he was obsessed with purities. The origins of tea are probably a lot more primal. You see, water was a lot more dangerous before the Industrial Revolution in Asia, and anywhere else for that matter, and humans generally compensated by creating a safe-to-drink liquid. It's very possible that tea is a simple alternative to water, but what perhaps is more important than its origins is what happened next. During the years of exploration, tea became a global export, due to the European empires of Portugal and the United Provinces entering Chinese trading circles. Soon after that, tea, similarly to other drinks like coffee and chocolate, came to the United Kingdom in about the mid-17th century. After its arrival, tea became the most popular beverage among the aristocracy, but only the aristocracy, due to the taxation. Tea was far too expensive for the emerging middle classes, but because of the popularity, there was a large black market, which smuggled tea of very poor quality in an attempt to make a quick profit. The United Kingdom was heavily invested in the acquisition of more tea, causing large tea plantations to pop up all over the colonies of the European empires. This in the long term would lead to a large production of tea coming from South America, Africa and the Middle East. They still produce a large quantity to this day. Well, that and opium, but I'll leave that for another time. So then the United Kingdom started exporting to other colonies, as well as importing, creating a large profit on the taxation. Tea would later become seen as an example of European imperial power due to its importance in trade and therefore represented the imperial economy. And not often in a good way. To pick tea leaves there needed to be workers, which were often endangered labourers. These labourers were paid barely anything and forced to work until their contract is complete. But this is nothing compared to the trade that went hand in hand with tea, because with tea often comes sugar, and in that century, with sugar, comes slavery. And this symbol would be used by revolutionaries in the Americas and the Caribbean. Of course, this and a thriving black market would mean that tea tax would inevitably have to come to an end. In 1784, William Pitt cut taxation, recognising that high taxation on imports and exports would lead to stagnation of the economy. Now everybody could afford tea, except for the working class, and the unemployed, but otherwise, it truly became the most popular beverage, although it also had the unfortunate consequence of strengthening the East India Trading Company, which would later cause the mass drugging of China. The Chinese would have to fund their addiction with their precious goods, including tea, which would result in the Opium Wars, the fall of the dynasty, and the Europeans practically owning China for the next 50 years. So, back to that simple cup of tea. Not so simple anymore. Brings about a few ethical dilemmas. You know what, I think I'm okay as long as I don't have any sugar. Now, porridge. Porridge.